All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Caleb's Kung Fu Cinema. Obviously, I am Caleb. We are live here on the channel today for the first time in a while that I've actually done a live stream. So this is really exciting. I'm glad that the time is finally here for this one because I have been eagerly awaiting this for months and months and months. But yeah, today uh, myself, yours truly, and we got Jason from Martial Arts Theater 3000. We got Leon from Hong Kong and beyond. Although I'm not entirely sure that's Leon. I think he got Chuck himself to
Yeah,
to
I
come
just
join the
thought I'd
stream.
turn up for the stream, lads. I've replaced Leon, and today you've got Chuck with you.
That's
As
a that's
Caleb,
a
as you were talking there, I just looked down. I'm getting all serious, like nodding, and I looked down at Leon, and you just can't. If you ever need a comic relief, you just look down. Wow, that is
yeah.
classic. I have to ask, Shake, that when you first came on, I thought it was CGI for a second, but I thought you did, like, you're good at putting back screens and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I've gone the old school route with physical, practical effects here, and yeah, it took me a while to grow the hair, but it's here.
Can I interject an early thing? I just have to say this: when I watch that, and I know how much you love Chuck Norris, Leon, when you kind of look like him, and not you look like him now, but when I was watching it, I was like, if he had a shaved head, like have you ever been told that before or thought that at any point?
Well, in my dreams, yeah. Nobody's
I'm telling
you,
in his early breaker period, like when he had that hair versus the
yeah.
red, I'm telling you, like you've morphed, like from reading all his books, it's like come into you a bit.
You know what? I love you even more now.
Yeah,
because yeah,
buttering
that's
you up.
been a dream of mine. Turn into Chuck. I've got to take those glasses off. It's a bit much.
Yeah, you still got it. I'm telling you, it's even more like him now.
Yeah. All right, but yeah, as everybody could tell today, the three Kung Fu Amigos, we are breaking down our top three Chuck Norris movies. All three of us went on one hell of a journey, trying to figure out a top three. I know there were a lot of I mean, we're gonna save it for when we dive into everything, but there were a lot of highs and lows here. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm really just excited to get into it. But before we get started, I want to let the guys introduce themselves. So yeah, first we got Jason, Martial Arts Theater 3000. Jason, tell us what you're all about.
How's it going, everyone? Yeah, my name's Jason, as Caleb just said, and I have a martial arts movie channel, YouTube channel, Instagram, now on Facebook as well. I'm not really on there, kind of just auto posts there. So if you guys ever want to look me up, and I cover old school mainly. Have had some friends along the way been getting me into the modern because I'm kind of been allergic to it over the years for various reasons. But yeah, it's pretty much what my channel is. I've started it in 2021, both YouTube and on Instagram. So
Yeah, right on. That's really great content too. I've always like really enjoyed your stuff. Like even before you and I like really got to know each other, I
oh,
still
thank you.
really enjoyed watching your stuff. And then
Thanks, buddy.
yeah, yeah, of course. And up next, obviously, we've got Chuck Norris himself. We got Big Brother Leon from Hong Kong Beyond. Leon, tell us what's been going on and what your channel's all about.
Okay, well, so Hong Kong and Beyond started off life as Hong Kong Blu-rays, and that was about 5 years ago now. And the initial intention was to cover Blu-rays exclusively from Hong Kong. And we did that for a little while, and we found it wasn't quite fulfilling enough, so we had to have a sit back and rethink. And of course, when we met all you guys and saw everything you were doing, thought, right, we need to dig a little deeper here. So we've expanded, and then between the group of us, we started off the ACC, the Asian Cinema Circle, which is a Facebook group for now, and there's many people that dip in, dip out the group. And yeah, I just love the live streams, the countdowns, and of course Shaz and I are probably known within the community a little bit more for covering like newer stuff out of Hong Kong. So there's a couple of companies here in the UK, which is Central City Media and of course Trinity Cine Asia, who send us new films to cover every now and again. So we always like to do that. And there's also a couple of companies over in Australia that send us some physical media releases, mainly like imprint. And we like to cover the imprint Asia releases if we can. occasionally I'll copy Jason or copy Caleb and either do an unboxing or my own countdown. I don't do it as good as these fantastic gentlemen here, but I do enjoy doing it an awful lot. And yeah, I just love being with the guys, interacting with the community, and just having a lot of fun, really. And if you like as well, we do have a retired podcast, which it may get some content on it soon, which just to keep it going. And at some point in the future, me and Shaz will pick that up. But it's quite a while off yet, but we do have plans long term for that. So yeah, thank you for the introduction, and thank you for having me today, brothers. Always chill to be with the Amigos.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Yeah, I do want to sing Leon's praises right there as well. If anybody out there like really wants a very wide spectrum, I'll say, if anybody wants a really wide spectrum of film coverage, Hong Kong Beyond is definitely the place, because admittedly there have been times where I'll watch a review or something that you guys did, and it's sometimes it's a movie. It's like, oh, I didn't really know if I wanted to check that out, but now you guys giving your thoughts on it makes me curious. So yeah, they'll Hong Kong Beyond will do that to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think of you guys as like the specialist, and then me and Shaz are just kind of a widespread. We don't really niche down so much. We just throw a general overview. So you guys are the specialist, and we just look at a wide blanket of stuff. So I think between the lot of us, we got the depth, and we got a wide range too. So I think if you go to the group and you check out all the individual channels, you're going to find something that you want to see.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
How about you, Caleb? How about you tell the audience?
Yeah,
I mean, it's your channel, but we want to hear.
Yeah. Well, everybody who's watching this, of course, where everybody already knows me. I'm Caleb. Caleb's Kung Fu Cinema started out as a podcast in 2020. A couple years later, I expanded over into YouTube. Now I'm just I was strictly YouTube for a little while, but now I'm expanding once again over to Twitch. I recently announced that I'm going to start. I started a Twitch channel. I might actually do my first stream on there today, depending on how long this goes. We'll see. But yeah. I mean, I've been doing this for this will be 6 years this year. We still got to wait till like September, October until it actually turns into 6 years. But anyway, yeah, it's been an incredible journey, like watching so many movies I hadn't seen before, meeting great people like you guys. But yeah, that's what Caleb's Kung Fu Cinema is all about.
It's a great channel.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you.
It is. Could I just add though as well, out of everybody in the ACC, when it comes to pickup videos, I just love watching Caleb's the most, because you've got such an infectious like love, and it's just right there, front and present. And you just, I don't know, every time you got a pile of discs, you just make me I get so sucked into it. I just love it. And I just think you do that best out of all of us, dude. And yeah, kudos for that, because it always puts me in a happy place watching you with your pickups. So just that shout out to you, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, without any further ado, sorry.
I was just gonna say, you're also good at picking like Kickboxer 4. You'll grab a random thing, you know. Yeah. I like when you just dive, and there's some areas when it gets to like the fourth, whatever, blood sport and stuff that you'll dive into, and you're brave. I like that on your channel for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't even. I literally could not finish Bloodsport 4. Like when I made the video. That's been a couple of years now, I think. But
is that the 10-second video where you got on and said,
yeah,
goodbye, I can't even do it? Yeah, that was classic.
Yeah, I literally couldn't. But at the same time, the idea just came to me. I was thinking, you know, I think it'd be funny if I did that. I didn't care if it was going to get like a ton of views or anything. I don't think it even really got that many, but I didn't care. I was like, I just think that would be funny, so that's why I did it. I literally could not finish that movie.
That was classic.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll go ahead and jump into today's topic. Yes, the three Kung Fu Amigos are breaking down our top 3 Chuck Norris movies. But before we get into our top 3, there are a lot of other there are some other things that we wanted to go ahead and cover. For starters, really, what we like to do is kind of talk about how we we discovered each person. Like last time when we did Steven Seagal, we talked about how we discovered his films, and so today we're going to start with that same thing. We'll talk about how we discovered Chuck Norris. I'll go first, and then we'll have Jason and then Leon follow after that. So for me, Chuck Norris, I don't know about everybody else, but I think it's probably pretty common for others. I discovered Chuck Norris in Way of the Dragon when he fought Bruce Lee, which is obviously a very very iconic fight scene. One of the great ones, really. Probably Bruce Lee's best fight scene as far as like choreography goes. So yeah, that was when I first saw Chuck Norris, and I remember seeing that movie with my uncle, and my uncle was a big Chuck Norris fan, and he told whenever Chuck Norris came on screen, like when he got off the plane in Rome, it's a great scene. But whenever that scene came on and we saw Chuck Norris for the first time, I remember my uncle pointing out that he said that's Chuck Norris. He's this big karate champ, one of the greats as far as the tournament karate world goes. And I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then then see him fight Bruce Lee, and I'm like, wow, he's in the early going of that fight, Chuck was giving Bruce a run for his money. So I thought it was interesting. But afterwards, I didn't really seek Chuck out that much. I thought he was cool. I mean, obviously he was very skilled, but I don't know. I just didn't really go on the hunt for his movies that much. But I do remember seeing The Octagon on TV one time. And I remember it was towards the end, like whenever Chuck's character was fighting Bronson Lee. And I remember seeing him like, oh, okay, that's Chuck Norris again. We'll check this out. And so that, and then like as years went on, I would like come across other stuff that he did. But the big one for me was, as I'm sure it's the same for a lot of other people, is Walker Texas Ranger. Whenever I found that on TV, I don't know. I just really fell in love with that show. I love like police type TV shows. Those are always a lot of fun. And having one with Chuck Norris obviously means there's going to be a lot of action. And so I think that's what kind of pulled me in. It's like, oh, it's a cop show, which I love, but this is also going to have a lot of fighting and a lot of action. So I just really learned to enjoy Walker Texas Ranger. And I remember like every day with watching the show with my best friend. Like at one point I had a best friend who lived with us. Shout out to Josh. But he lived with me for a brief period, and I remember every day he and I would sit down and watch Walker Texas Ranger on TV, and it was those were great memories. We have a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun watching that, and he and I still talk about the show every now and then. But yeah, and then that kind of just led me here. In my later years, I started to seek more Chuck Norris movies out, and now we're at this point where I like really dove into his filmography, and I gotta say it was a really interesting journey. But we'll get into that once we start breaking down the movies and everything. But yeah. That's pretty much my journey with Chuck Norris. So, Jason, what do you got?
No, that was cool. I liked hearing that. Yeah, mine pretty short. For me, it was same introduction with Way of the Dragon, and it was weird though. I'm sure you guys feel this too. There's such a like gap before he really became the Chuck we know today that Way of the Dragon always feels separate. That's like a separate universe, that version of Chuck somehow,
Right.
Even though the chest hair came along and everything, but just that he seemed a lot like bulkier back then too in Way of the Dragon. That's like the biggest he ever looked. Like he was kind of like shredded later on, but he definitely had an imposing, like, bigger dude back then. But that was pretty much it. Loving Bruce Lee growing up, seeing that. And then the middle of the 80s, I was like 6 years old or 7. I remember renting Missing in Action, which I didn't remember. I couldn't remember it too much. It just was that period of the POWs was everything going on. All those movies were just about POWs, and it was par for the course.
Hello, Stephen.
And so it was pretty much just like seeing him in that. And then I saw him in a couple other ones, The Octagon, and I remember loving that. I was so into the ninja craze, loved the Octagon. It just was, I just couldn't remember nowadays too much of it because I never returned to Chuck too much. And so like, that's why it's gonna be fun to talk about this whole rewatch journey, because a lot of it came back to me. And I have to admit, back then, what kind of put me away is I could even tell a little bit that his acting was kind of rough. You know, I just thought his acting wasn't kind of up to snuff, and I could see Leon like, I'm joking. And yeah, so just the acting put me off a little bit back then, and so it was pretty much just Way of the Dragon, Missing in Action, the Octagon, and maybe a couple other ones back then, and then a long gap where it was just pretty much the jokes of Chuck Norris. He wasn't always in my rotation. It was kind of like a Steven Seagal thing, where the VHS days I had a lot of experience with him, but then there's a huge gap. You know, I didn't go back to him and go down the path like Van Damme. Well, I didn't until recently. So,
right. Nice. Leon, tell us about your journey.
Well, first off, I noticed we had a couple of viewers pop on, like PerryFan49 and Steve Moore. So hi to the guys. Thank you for watching us today. I just want to say your two stories absolutely great. Really, really love that. When I came to Chuck first, I most definitely would have been at primary school, and it would have been the early 80s and on Betamax. Because my brother used to hire out all those sort of films. I think I'd already seen Bruce Lee at that point, but only maybe in Enter the Dragon. And then we hired out like a lot of the early Chuck films, like Good Guys Wear Black, The Octagon, all those films as they came out, an Eye for an Eye. And of course, when I was that much younger, acting wasn't like a priority to me back then. It was the action, anything that was coming alive on the screen. And being a young boy and seeing like these karate moves. And also there was a thing with Chuck, what I found quite inspirational was how he used to get all these like beautiful leading ladies. And I just thought, you know, being a young boy, I thought, man, this guy is incredible. He can beat everybody up. He can get all these gorgeous girls. I thought, I want to be Chuck Norris when I grow up. And
you are. Look at this.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think you might have taken it a little too literally.
Yeah.
The transformation is complete. I think this led you. This is it.
I can remember trying to act like him in the schoolyard, like you know, tossing out the lines like, "I want your opinion. I'll beat it out of you." You know, that sort of stuff. And
you know what? That's what made me think he kind of looked like you, is because in the Steven Seagal one, you told a similar story. I had this greased ponytail. You said you put some sort of in a jacket. No, I wasn't seeing that by any means. But when I was watching the Chuck thing, I was like, he had to. You know, you guys have, like, I'm telling you, for Halloween, you had to have been Chuck at some point. I know that.
No, actually, the funny thing is, my eldest brother, who's not with us anymore, and we lost him in 2009. He
I'm sorry,
really does look like bearded Chuck, and
okay.
I always used to see that. So I used to think, because I used to think, oh, my big brother's like Chuck Norris, like, you know. And yeah, that was always a cool thing for me, because I used to look at him and see, you know, a similarity there. So my mom always said that I look like my older brother. So maybe I can sort of see it through that lens. But I think it's just a case of Chuck Norris, icon. Yeah, I've kind of this journey now, this time round, it surprised me, and it's changed some of my opinions in a way I never thought it would. But we'll get into that in a bit. Also, I just wanted to quickly say, because I liked Chuck with his leading ladies, I have a top 3 leading ladies. Can I check them out now, quick?
For sure.
Yes, please. Let's hear it.
So I'd be interested to see if it tallies up with you guys. In the 3rd place, and I've just changed this by what we were talking about, was the dark-haired girl in The Octagon, the one that comes from the camp.
Yeah.
She was absolutely lovely. She had quite striking features, and I just remember as a child being really impressed with her, and you know, within that film. 2nd place was the delightful Anne Archer in Good Guys Wear Black, who many people will know from Fatal Attraction, and she's been in films with like Gene Hackman, Narrow Margin, and so on and so forth. I've always really been a big fan of Anne Archer. There's a film called Green Ice with her and Ryan O'Neal. Loved her in that as well. And I just thought she drew something out of Chuck in that film for me when they were on screen together that I thought is kind of elevating his game a little bit because she's such a good actress. So she's my number 2 spot. And then my number 1 spot is I can't remember her name. I think I wrote it down somewhere.
Yeah, those are blending for me. Like
the name, Tony Kalem, who is the girl from Silent Rage, the nurse that he gets involved with. For me, she's number 1 because I buy into that relationship within that film more so than I do any of these other relationships on camera. And I just thought she's like really, really stunning. I think she went on to be in The Sopranos, if I remember rightly. But yeah, really good actress. And yeah, that's my number 1 of that. And yeah, sorry to throw that extra one out there, but I just thought there might be some people might find it interesting, and it'd be interesting to see if anybody puts in the comments, or actually, no, I think this. So
yeah, I think yeah, that's good. I think it's funny you mentioned the Octagon. I had a feeling you'd throw that one in there, but at the same time, I remember watching that movie, and I remember asking my wife. As always, my wife watched all these with me too, and I remember when we were watching that one, I remember asking her, it's like towards the end of it, I asked her, I said, did you notice how many women he's hooked up with in this movie? Because it's like each act there was a different woman in that one. It was funny.
And that was the one where she actually, unlike a lot of the other ones, she was a martial artist and had some fight scenes in the Octagon. So that was pretty cool. Because most of them are just kind of either a love interest or they give them a lot of crap, like in Invasion USA. I mean, that doesn't even get to I swore, I was like, okay, this is the one they're getting in bed. And then she just was so mean to him like the whole time,
Yeah. But yeah, Leon, thanks. That was fun. Thanks for that little countdown right there. But the next what's I forget next. Next segment. We could call it that. Thanks, Jason. Next segment. We do want to throw some honorable mentions out there, but before we get to the honorable mentions, I do want to share with everybody a little Chuck Norris fact. They are not Chuck Norris jokes; they are Chuck Norris facts.
They are true. People get that wrong sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. But if everybody watching wants to hear one, I do have I have some. I'll just rotate these out here and there, but I have some good ones that I just wanted to share. But for now, we'll just have one. This is one of the oldest and most well-known or most prominent Chuck Norris facts out there. It's one of my favorites. One time, a cobra bit Chuck Norris on the leg, and after 5 days of agonizing pain, the cobra died.
Classic.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's one of my favorites. But yeah,
I love how also the timeline. You're like, this is an early one. This is a middle period. Like,
yeah,
that's classic.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll throw another one out there a little bit later. But first, we're going to go ahead and get into our honorable mentions. I'll go ahead and go first, of course. But really with these, we're kind of just we'll just kind of throw them out there, and then we'll talk about we won't dwell on it too much because we do have a top 3 to get into. But we'll just throw honorable mentions out there if there's any like lingering thoughts you want to throw in with those, we can do that. But for me, my 2 honorable mentions. First off is Firewalker. I really enjoyed that movie. I have to say, I think that was probably the one, like, out of everything that I watched, because I watched 12 Chuck Norris movies, and I think out of all the ones that I watched, Firewalker was probably the one where Chuck had the most personality, I'll say. And it was interesting seeing him here instead of other movies where he's very stoic, like very, very serious and stuff like that, and he's a tough guy. Here he's again, he's got a big personality. He has his moments of sarcasm and stuff like that, and it was interesting. Him and Lou Gossett Jr. played off each other very well. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that one out there. And if there's anything that kind of like took it out of the top 3 for me, it was I don't know, the villain wasn't really doing it for me, and so I was like, I like this, I like Chuck's performance, but I don't think I can include that one because like the villain and everything just took it out for me. And then my second one, you got Leon most likely maybe saw this coming, but my second honorable mention is Sidekicks.
Nice.
Yeah, I love Sidekicks. Obviously, when people watch that movie, it's like, oh, it's so self-indulged, and yeah, it is. But you know what? It's nostalgic for me, and nostalgic is a killer sometimes. But yeah, I just love Sidekicks. It's a lot of fun. Joe Piscopo's performance is amazing. Jonathan Brandis was great. Jonathan Brandis was a great actor. I miss him. He was very talented. And you know, Mako was in it. Mako was also excellent. It's just it's just a really fun movie. Even if you can't say it's one of Chuck's best, it's still a personal favorite for me.
Mm-hmm.
I have to throw in that Piscopo performance that had to have influenced Rex Kwon Do from Napoleon Dynamite. It is so close, the whole thing. You know what I mean? There's like some of the lines are like the same. I mean, that's kind of a that trope can be in other things, but I was like, this is Rex Kwon Do.
I think that's the first time I've ever heard that. I don't think I've ever heard anybody compare that to Rex Kwon Do. That's great.
But I'll say I think Piscopo's is more exaggerated almost. You know, I mean, he's just so nuts. He's just like,
yeah. My I do real quick before Jason throws his onwards out there. One of my favorite Piscopo moments in Sidekicks is when Jonathan Brandis' character Barry, whenever Barry has the hitman fantasy, and he's fighting. They're fighting Piscopo and all of his lackeys in the candy warehouse or whatever. And Barry aims that bazooka at him, and Piscopo's like, "You wouldn't dare." I don't know, that cracks me up so much. Just the way, just his delivery right there, like, you wouldn't dare, and then he does it anyway. But yeah, that's a funny one for me.
Oh, it's good. The one-liners are priceless. It's like the 80s trickle over to the early 90s. They kind of lost that in the late 90s, but it bled in pretty good to about 94, I'd say. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Jason, let's hear your honorable mentions.
Yeah, mine, I had a little trouble on this one. This might spoil my top three a bit, to be honest, but I kind of have to elaborate a bit. I have come to love Chuck in that cop. Well, and I told Leon, I was like, I have to rewatch some parts of 79 to 83 because it is like the same movie over and over, maybe 78, 77 to 83, over and over. This cop with an undercover cop, the drugs, the girl, just rinse and repeat, over and over. And then it gets to his Rambo mode, where it's like POWs, Invasion USA, and all that. So I want to give a little shout out to Mission in Action on my honorable mention, more so to that period of Missing in Action and Missing in Action 2. But I'll have to be honest, on the rewatch, I was like, man, does this feel like a poor man's Apocalypse Now? Because like not much stuff happens. There's not a lot of action. At the first hour, there's like barely any fight scenes. It's like Chuck kind of just stewing and going around, and it's cool. I love the look of it. It just didn't even have that Canon Films, like, let's blow everything up at the beginning. It didn't, it just kind of was like cool, but I think it really represents that period. And I think it was less like ridiculous than Invasion USA. So I give that an honorable mention because it kind of sums up that mid 80s. And then my other one would be, surprisingly, The Hitman, because I think The Hitman his acting is so much better than, because that's the other thing. I did say I saw some of bad acting, but by the late mid 80s, he came into his own. By the early 90s in The Hitman, he seemed more like he's being Chuck, especially when he's training that kid in the living room. That didn't even feel like acting. And when you see Chuck in interviews, I was like, why can't he bring that into the movies a little more? Because he's so natural and calm. And sometimes like when he has to do a romance, like he tries to like do something with his eyes or something. It just, I don't know. I'm talking like the early stuff. He definitely came into his own a little more. His acting got a lot better. And I think that's showcased in The Hitman. I think they really tried to get the one-liners in on that. They got the mullet in, I was proud of that. Proud's a weird word, but I just thought that was peak mullet. The mullet gets better too. It's like a light mullet. And when it goes to 3 years later, it comes out. It's like, wow. And then I was like, John Woo and Hard Target, they definitely modeled a lot of the shotgun. Yeah. But I just think that was a cool one. And it's a Canon Films offshoot. I guess it's not Canon it's Canon Pictures, not Canon Films, something like that. But I love Canon Films. I love the documentary on Canon Films. I love the idea of it. But that documentary is unreal. I just think anyone who's watching, you got to watch Electric Boogaloo. That is such a good documentary. But when it comes down to it, you could see. I just want to say real quick is that the two producers, they would sell the poster first. They would make the poster and you'd have the hitman or whatever. Then they try to scramble for the script and the director after. So they get all the money and the funding at various like Cannes Films types of things. You could see that in a lot of this, like Invasion USA. It is like, there is no plot here. It is nothing here. And just, they take it, Canon Films, it doesn't bother me, but they take it so far and it gets to that tasteless area. Instead of killing a guy, it's like, let's shoot. My killing moves shooting a guy in the groin like 7 times, that guy in Invasion USA. And it's entertaining, but it's just like, oh my Lord, this is like, so I want to give a shout out to the Canon Film side of things with Missing in Action and in The Hitman, which I think is like peak mullet and better acting Chuck in that one.
Yeah, definitely. I watched both of those too on my journey, and they were. I mean, I definitely shared the same thoughts as Jason. That they were interesting. They were good movies, but there were also just not a lot going on in either of those. But
you saw. Oh, you mean the Missing in Actions?
Yeah,
or because not the Hitman. There's definitely a lot going on in that.
Yeah. I watched it. Yeah, I watched the first and the second Missing in Action, and there's not a whole lot going on in there. I will give the second one credit for actually having a big fight scene at the end. Between Chuck and Soon Tech O. That was a pretty solid fight scene. The Hitman was fun, but also I don't know. There's something about that one. I don't really know, but no,
that's cool.
Yeah. That's those are good picks, Jason. Leon, what do you got for your honorable mentions?
Right. So first up, and this again may wreck my top 3 because this might be a bit of a shocker, but I've got The Octagon.
Nice.
I absolutely love The Octagon. I really do. It's one of my favorite Chuck movies ever. And I would say out of all of these films, if we're looking at them as martial art films, I say The Octagon's probably number 1 for me because I think his form in that is unparalleled in any of his other films. Some of the, the roundhouse, the spin kicks, the spin punches in quick succession. They just fly. They fly so well. And then you got that fight scene between Chuck and Richard Norton. Absolutely love that. I love that we got Lee Van Cleef in there. The only thing that probably took this out of my top 3 was I've always had a thing for it is the narration. He's over here.
Yeah.
So
and
odd.
It takes me out of it a little bit. And so that's my first one. And my second one, Caleb's already had it. It's Sidekicks.
Cool.
Absolutely love Sidekicks. The only reason why that one's not in my list is because I don't feel it's really a Chuck Norris film. I feel like Chuck Norris features in it, but it's like Jonathan Brandis's film to me. And as much as I love the film, and I really do love the film, I didn't want it to blot out some of the other Chuck films that I love when I feel like there's more Chuck presence in the other films. So purely on that basis alone is why it's not in my top 3. And good to hear everybody else's honorable mentions, and nice to hear about the fight scene with Sun Teko, because Chuck had 3 fights with him, didn't he, in 3 different films. So he's like, I guess he's most reoccurring villain. So nice.
One thing on Sidekicks, since you guys both picked that, my slight issue with Fight Club is one of my favorite movies, but when I was young watching it, I always have a little trouble with a fictional character or a mix of, it was all a dream, or, or I'm imagining these things. And I know they rectify that at the end of Sidekicks. It's like real Chuck versus his daydreaming, you know, well, in a way, like,
was it though?
Well,
look at me.
Whoa. No, I just mean it kind of like, I just mean it's like, it aids him in a way that it's not just him staring off and imagining these things in school. It gets a little more real life versus him just like imagining him in the wilderness. But so it got me more on board, I'll say, at the end to like it didn't, because whenever it's just like him imagining them, it just kind of feels like a long flashback, because I have issues sometimes with flashbacks, fake, it doesn't exist type of things. That was just my thing. But if Leon, you saw that when you were young, or sorry, Caleb, you saw that when you were younger, right?
Yeah, I was really young when I saw that.
If I saw that, I think that would have been up there for me, because I think it would have got me. But as you can see, watching it now, like, so
yeah, it's definitely something that you need to that you needed to grow up on, and that's what it was for me, because as a kid I didn't all I ever really had was just a bunch of different martial arts VHS tapes, and when that's all you got, that's all you watch. So and so Sidekicks was just one of those. And I do want to say, Leon, when you were mentioning the Octagon, I wanted to say, you all right there, Jason?
Oh, I almost knocked it all over. We're good. Earthquake.
Yeah.
Kicking his camera.
Oh yeah, he's coming.
I'm getting excited for the top 3.
Yeah. But I do want to throw out real quick, Leon, you mentioned the Octagon. I thought that was a decent movie too. But the whispers took me out of it a lot. It was it was so weird. It's like nobody else knows. Only my brother and I know. This doesn't make sense.
I know Leon saying narration, that was giving it some points, because it's more like just voices in my head, and you could see Chuck like in the booth, like he's getting into it, but it just and not to knock your honorable mention, that was one that I started on this rewatch. And I have to say that I feel for the romance. That's one of his worst acting, in my opinion. It's just it's one of his worst acting. But I love ninjas, and I feel as in that fire and fight, and like you said, there's enough back fists going around to bring it up though to be cool.
Yeah, it's definitely one of his most wooden performances for sure, which is a shame.
Yeah, it's and another thing, it's like the choreography in that movie, it's good at the same time. I'm sure you guys might have noticed it too, but it didn't feel very hard hitting, like with the sound effects, if you know what I mean. Like it's kind of like, normally whenever you're watching like a Hong Kong action film and stuff like that, when they're fighting, you really feel those hits because of the sound effects they're throwing in there, and because of like the powder, they use powder to kind of show that impact and everything.
Yeah, Sammo Hung brought that in a lot. Sammo Hung.
Yeah, definitely. And so when you watch something like the Octagon, the choreography is good. You can tell they put a lot of effort into it, and it's really slick. But at the same time, they're not using other things to kind of help project that impact, if you ask me. So that was another thing that kind of took me out of that one as well. Is like, I just think they could have done more with the choreography to make a little more, I'll say, believable, or just a little more immersive,
Yeah, sometimes it's the opposite of those like really low budget, like even more than Shaw Brothers. If you watch a mid-70s low budget, even when they punch, it's like boom or like boom, and sometimes the hits are like boom, Yeah, I noticed there's a pity patter sound on some of Chuck Norris. It's a shame. You want a little more loud, like Streets of Rage noise or something.
Yeah.
And not to, I don't want us to get too hung up on time-wise on just the honorable mentions. I just want to say, because he meant Leon on the Octagon. One thing I noticed, and not to knock on Chuck, he has such a good sidekick and a certain like crossover kick with his right leg. And people have pointed out, if you watch Van Damme movies, he never uses his left leg to kick. Someone pointed that out to me, and I was like, maybe in a couple, like in No Retreat, No Surrender, he does a tad. But for the most part, it's just that's his like positioning leg. I noticed when Chuck does, I can't remember the exact name, his spinning left leg, maybe roundhouse.
Yeah.
Something's a little off on that for me. He doesn't always nail that. He tries to do it a lot when the camera work is right, but sometimes it's like, oh, I don't know. That's not his best move. He has a lot of good ones. Sometimes that pulled me out a tad, because that kick of his, it wasn't, it was a little Jimmy Wang Yu-ish for me. That
I think a lot of that would be down to time and budget constraints. I think they shot these films and they had a deadline to get them out. And so it's like, how is it? Yeah, it'll do. Let's move along.
Right.
I feel like they just had to get it done, whereas a retake might have been better. 2, 3 retakes, whatever it takes to get it. Because you've seen him do those moves, and you've seen him pull it off. And then
I have.
when you get the occasional kick that looks a little bit stilted or a little bit withdrawn or not fully extended, it's like a little bit jarring. Because you're like, why are we gone with that take?
Right. You know what I
Yeah,
also think it is, just to
yeah.
add on to what you're saying, is I think he's a lot better at hitting bags and stuff than the pulling. It takes a real skill to pull a kick, you know? When he gets on the bag every time, like, man, he looks great there. But then when he gets to a guy, he does that kick, and it's like, oh, okay, I think, but he got better later on. And it also has to do with the camera work. A kick, you know, because even as a little kid, he did videos. If you put the guy's head there, you can make it look like a great punch. But if there's even this much space, it's like,
yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of interesting honorable mention choices right there. But if anything, that makes me more excited for the top three, just to hear what everyone else has.
I'm buzzing.
Yeah,
I'm knocking
definitely.
stuff over. I'm over here like,
yeah. But it's time to crack into the top three. But before that, it's time for another Chuck Norris fact. You guys ready?
Yes.
All right. This is one of my favorites. Chuck Norris has a bearskin rug in his living room. It's not dead. It's just afraid to move.
Very good. I love it. We need a laugh track. We need a laugh track for these.
Yeah.
Leon be good with that.
Yeah. All right, but yeah, time for the top three. So I'll go first, and then Jason, and then Leon, and we'll just keep rotating until we reach our number one picks. So for my number three Chuck Norris film, it is Code of Silence.
Good man.
I did. I was quite surprised at this one, because as I was watching it, I remember thinking, there is not a lot of action, at least not a lot of martial arts. There is one fight scene in this movie where Chuck is fighting all the gangsters in the bar, and I really like that fight scene, even though, spoiler, Chuck loses right there, because he just gets overwhelmed. But you also got to hand it to him for the realism right there, because any person who is in a real situation like that, that's probably what's going to happen, but I just really like that. I really like that one fight scene that we get. I like how hard hitting it is. That was kind of like one of the things that I was talking about there. They did a better job with with kind of conveying the impact of each strike and stuff like that. The sound effects were a little bit better. Chuck, he did a better job right there. Making it seem like he's hitting these people when he really is, and he did a better job pulling his punches there and stuff like that. But something I was surprised to see was that as just an action movie, or maybe let me rephrase that, as more of just a thriller movie. It's quite good. Like it's got really good performances. Chuck is very good. We get the great villain. I cannot remember his name. I know his last name is Henry Silva. That's it. I knew Silva was the last name. That's it.
Making his second appearance after Nico.
Yeah.
Real quick, Leon he is our walking IMDb. When you were talking about your channel, I mean, you could probably given us 30 films of his, like, right there if you
a few.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Chuck thing, they're good at that villain, given that weird plastically look on him. He has something strange with his face, where I was like, did they alter his face? It looks like he had, like, I don't know. It looked like he had a mask on or something. And then I looked, they're good casting on that villain. Good casting.
Yeah. He's very good in this. Excuse me. But the interesting thing is, like, really just the performances all across the board are all really good. God, Leon, I'm gonna need your help. Who's Craigie in Code of Silence? It was the guy from Home Alone. Robert Foodie, was that his name?
You've got me there. I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Yeah.
When you say Craigie, is he on Chuck's side?
Yeah, so he is he's the cop who is being investigated because he shot someone and stuff like that. Ralph Foodie, that's his name. Ralph Foodie. I had to look it up.
Oh, I think he might have been in Sopranos. The guy that went to trial and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So, like they're blending, but they were when we went to trial and Chuck was telling him to tell the truth and everyone was trying to get him to not. Okay.
Yeah, that's him, Ralph Foodie. But Ralph Foodie is obviously most people recognize him from Home Alone. As Angels with Filthy Souls, the greatest the greatest movie within a movie of all time. But anyway, all across the board, those are some really good performances. And I like the whole device in the movie where Chuck is trying to do the right thing, but and everybody's turning against him for it. Everyone's like, oh, everyone's casting him out. You're not one of us. You're not on our side. That sort of thing. I think that's just an interesting story right there. And I think it's just it's just cool seeing Chuck like kind of in that situation because obviously in like later Chuck Norris movies he became kind of a he became a one-man army type of thing. But in this kind of movie, you see him and he's in situations where he needs help, and other people in the movie like acknowledge that, but here nobody wants to help him, because people have turned against him. And I just thought that was interesting. It's a unique experience as far as Chuck's movies go. But sure. My number three is Code of Silence.
Good pick.
Good choice. Good title as well.
Oh yeah,
I do like that one.
Excuse me. It lines up too. Some of them you're sitting there going, "Why is this called this the whole movie?" On a couple, which I might be getting to here.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Jason, what's your number 3?
So my number 3 is An Eye for an Eye. I thought that, as I've said, this period blends. Like as Caleb was talking there, I was trying to go, okay, is this one and this one? Is this bad guy and this one? It's coming to me.
Yeah.
But I think this kind of encapsulates that cop period of, the sidekick, the girl, that whole thing before he turned into Rambo, in that period. I love Mako. I'm not sure, probably Mako. And me and Leon being absolute Conan the Barbarian fans. I will always think that's his best role, but it's neat to see him have that same esque to him, to have that same like demeanor. His facial expressions alone are priceless on Mako. And I think that's my favorite sidekick of his. I think they were awesome. I think they could have went off and done a bunch of stuff together.
Yeah.
I love the duo. I thought there was a decent mystery to it all, and I like how the twists to it, how they had, it's obvious, like when they have Captain Stevens, Richard Roundtree, when they have him obviously seeming like he's the guy, you have to know that that's not going to be the guy, maybe when I was young, if I had seen it. So I just like the different twists and turns. I thought the villain was good. I like the TV industry, and you have kind of you have Linda, and then her friend becomes his love interest, very quickly too. They're in the shower within like 5 minutes. She was a tad awkward, but it was pretty good. She was pretty good. I could see why she didn't make your top 3 there, Leon, of his
personal
women
preference.
Yeah. She had a little more like to her though. Like sometimes they're really kind of don't have a lot outside of like the Octagon. They don't always have tons of dialogue, but she was really in it with him in that a lot. I liked, I guess his name is, I didn't know his name, Professor Tanaka, the big guy, the big dude. And I'm sitting there going, he looks
Running Man.
Right. Running Man, of course. But I knew him from in my head, Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure, when Pee Wee's trying to go get his bike back.
Yes.
And he answers the door 3 times, and the third time Pee Wee has the electronic knocking device. I'm sure you guys remember him from that, but that's for some reason was what like really stuck out to me. Like that's like I was like, where is he from? And he was good. Yes, he's in Avenger the Ninja.
He was in 3 Ninjas as well, like the first 3 Ninjas. He fights the kids towards the end. But he's good though. I really like the Professor. He going back to Jason's Pee Wee Herman reference right there. That is one of my favorite scenes in that movie. I love
it's great.
I love he opens the door. I want to see Francis. Francis is busy. Busy doing what? He's having his bath. Oh, really? Where are they hosing him down? That's so good.
And when he comes in, he's like, oh, like when he sees him, he goes underwater. Oh, I love that. We got a joke on the screen. Can everyone see that right when you pull it up, Caleb? People watching.
Yeah, that is That's my wife. That's Amber right there.
Oh, hi, Amber.
Yeah,
Hi,
she's
Amber.
watching. Yeah,
Brilliant
that's a
one.
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
I like
good
it. We
one.
got the Chuck's jokes or facts coming from both angles.
Yeah.
She's in the other room piping them in. That's classic. Hi, Amber.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I won't go off on Pee
Anyway,
Wee too much, but I got to see that on the big screen. I adore
oh,
that. I mean, so
yeah,
much like
that's a
back in the day when you used to have to rent a VHS, like Caleb, we used to have to rent the VCR as well in the beginning. Do you remember that, Leon? You actually had to like
Yeah.
get the VCR.
Oh yeah.
And Pee Wee's Big Adventure was before we got our own VCR. That was the first one we popped in on this rented VCR. I mean, like to watch a movie, you're returning all this equipment and stuff. It was like it was an ordeal. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I just really liked the backdrop of San Francisco. I thought it had the best sidekick with Mako. I thought it just was his best of that stretch where it all got confusing for me. Like the movies really blended. And I thought Tanaka, the guy we just spoke of, I liked whenever he's stopping that guy's Beetle or car and he turns into which guy from Street Fighter 2, Blanca or some guy. He's just going, and he's going just like breaking the car. Great moments. I thought that one was really solid. And that's the period where Chuck's acting got better. He was so green at the beginning that he starts to just, and I read something, he actually knew his acting was kind of rough and he talked to Steve McQueen and Steve McQueen said, oh, you know, like what's wrong with your movies is when they write you too many lines. You have to have everyone else explain the plot. You want to be the cool, just to say the important lines. And then Steve McQueen, and then it made Chuck feel better. And he probably talked to the people about it because you see that come in. And Steve McQueen said, oh, and on the Blob, I was horrible. Trust me, you'll get better. And I saw that. And they maybe made Chuck a little too quiet at some points. And boy, is he talkative in that breaker period and all that stuff. He's really chatting a lot. But yeah, he's better in that Terminator Arnold mode, in my opinion. But so that's my number 3, an eye for an eye.
Nice. That's a good one. Leon,
Lovely.
what you got?
Lovely. We'd be remiss as well if we didn't mention Christopher Lee turning up in that, which is my favorite Dracula. I just got to say, this time round, normally I think I've got a good feel for what you guys are going to come out with. This time around, I didn't have a clue. Because when I watched these, I've got so many with the same score. I'm like, holy hell, how do I pick from this?
It's really I had the same problem.
I had to adopt Caleb's. You said something early on, which I said, I think I'm doing that too. Like I made the list with the top 3, and then I just let one, if it could beat one out of that, it got into the top 3. Because I knew if I scored them, it'd be like in decimal points by the end.
And I'm because we've done this so many times now, I'm trying to watch you guys for like when you're suspiciously quiet and thinking, I don't want to jump in with something I want to say here because I might ruin it for somebody else later. So I'm trying to exercise the most restraint. And I guess if we remember at the end, we can chuck a few more things in because both of those choices absolutely love. My number 3, third position, and I think it really is the film where the transition came in, where we went from Chuck the actor to Chuck the icon, and that would be Lone Wolf McQuade. So Lone Wolf McQuade, 1983, we'd just come out of the early 80s and the late 70s where we had like super blonde Chuck with Tash, and then we got this like dirty, grubby looking Chuck who likes to drink beer when he's driving and treat everybody mean. You know, I absolutely love Lone Wolf McQuade. It went just to start the way it starts off, and you got that spaghetti western style music. Now that music is based a little bit on Ennio Morricone's soundtrack for Once Upon a Time in the West. And if you watch that film, then watch this film, you can see those influences really, really heavy. Even the start of the film when they're like raiding the horses, like, you know, the cattle thieves or whatever they are. And he's just like stood up there and with his like hat on, you know, this is like your proto Walker Texas Ranger. And I just, there's so much in this film that I really like. And this actually has my favorite sidekick in it, which is Robert Beltran, who plays KO. Because I remember I'm a big Star Trek fan and I loved him as Chakotay in Star Trek. And I just think it's great how Chuck doesn't want him as as a sidekick, and yet he's trying to get in with him, and his character transitions a lot through the film. You got one of my favorite villains, who is David Carradine, and I've always liked David Carradine more as a villain than I have as a hero. I think he makes a really great villain, hence Kill Bill, etc., martial law. And the build up, it's really, really good. And there's some great lines, isn't there? And some great supporting cast. I like the older guy in it, L.Q. Jones, who plays Dakota. Now, anybody that's ever seen Roadhouse, Sam Elliott as Wade, Dakota. There's obvious like sort of similarities there. You got the turbocharged 1983 Dodge Ram Charger in there, which is absolutely iconic. You know, the way he digs himself out in that when he gives himself the biggest shower. Something I like to do every morning before I get to work. Just have that douse beard shower.
Yeah, Leon, I have to say real quick, that was one I remember watching back in the day, like barely when I was young. I know that. And then our chat, you put in him pouring his beer, and I wanted to laugh. I was like, what is he doing? I wasn't sure what was going on. And when it came on the scene, I was dying. I was like, oh, Leon said that. That's classic. Like, so good. We could have done a top 3, like cars too, weird cars. You could have got that in too, you know.
Or just vehicles in general, because he uses so many, doesn't he?
But strange, they always have a little strange twist to it, you know.
It's never straightforward, is it? But I like, even at the end of this film, you've got like the built up armored vehicle and Chuck and the Digger, and they're playing a little game of chicken against each other before we get into the scrap. I believe that during that own fight scene, Carradine actually injured Chuck by hitting him quite hard in the ribs. And just after he did that, hit him in the ribs, Chuck then did what was the highest recorded filmed jump kick from a crouch on David Carradine. Now, this is what I've read in the trivia. And if you watch that scene, it's like the camera's really close up on Chuck. I'm like, well, what a waste. If that's the highest, how can we gauge it? Because we don't see him. So I'm kind of gutted we didn't have more cameras on that, because I think we could have got a little something more out of it. And we got Barbara Carrera in there as well, who she's amazing in this. She was just great. She just missed my list, but the way he is with her, and you know, he treats a little bit mean, and then she brings out a softer side of him. Personally, I think it's all the sheer tops that she wears, because she's definitely not wearing a bra there, and it's like, did they make her do that, or was that her choice? I don't know. It just seems,
nice, Amber. Love it. I saw him do that. I think one.
And just the operatic music during the love scene, that just really tops it off nicely for me. This has got everything for me that I wanted to see, in that change from Chuck that I feel was necessary to bring him from what he was into the biggest action star of the 80s, which is debatable, but when it go by VHS sales, it was clearly Chuck. But that's my number 3, and I'm just eager to hear your thoughts.
That's solid.
That's really good. I like that. That's a really good breakdown of it and everything. God, I'm really wondering what's next on Leon's list, because before we did this, everybody watching wouldn't know, but everyone, Leon said there's no way we're gonna have we're gonna see his like number 1 pick coming, and so now that we're getting closer, I still can't figure it out. But now it's time to get into our number 2 pick. But before that, it's time for another Chuck Norris fact. You guys ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Do you guys know how many push-ups Chuck Norris can do?
All of them.
All of them.
Nice.
I am well versed in these.
I'll slip one in. Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups. He pushes the earth down.
Yeah, that's right.
People like that. That was a solid one. It's a little add-on to yours. I thought that's where you were going. When I heard push-ups,
Yep. All right. Yeah. So number 2. My number 2 is Delta Force.
Yeah. Good man.
Yeah. Much like Code of Silence, I was really surprised when I watched this one. I found myself watching, first off, a really good drama. And you know, and when you think Chuck Norris, you don't usually think dramatic films, right? But that whole first half with the hostages on the plane and all that, I don't know. It was so engaging. Like it was everybody. I didn't even know most of these actors except for who was Robert Forster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even really know any of these actors except for Robert Forster, and he's great. But everybody, man, in that whole first set, everybody was really bringing their A game, like in those scenes, like on the plane and everything. I don't know, like it was just first half really good drama, and then the second half just what I wanted. Chuck Norris one man army, explosions, guns a-blazing, and everything, and like that. That was what I wanted. So I think it was just a fun experience right there, just getting a really good drama and then a really good action movie after that. And then seeing, the only person who can have a freaking motorcycle with freaking rockets attached to the freaking front of it is Chuck Norris. Yeah. But yeah, that last bit where he's got the motorcycle and he's just shooting rockets at everything, that's great. And then watching him just beat the crap out of Robert Forster was
beating. He really takes him to town, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's it. It was so much fun, and we also get just a lot of great performances from like the other people. Marvin Lee.
Lee Marvin.
Was that Lee Marvin, right? Yeah, sorry, Lee Marvin. Sorry. He was great too. Like him and Chuck play off of each other very well in this. But yeah. Obviously, I don't have a whole lot to say as far as Delta Force goes. But yeah, I mean, for me, that was just a really good half, like really good part drama, really good part action.
You summed that up because it has like a slow trickle. The terrorists have I wouldn't say sympathy, but it's not just like Invasion USA just blowing head. There's kind of like a feel out period as they ease into it and they're coming to the airport and people say, no, don't kill him. And like, Invasion USA, there's no, we won't kill a moment. This has a little bit of nuance to the terrorists at the opening.
Even they get a lot of development and stuff like that, and they get you get to like really see what is going on with them, and you get to see like what message they're trying to convey and stuff like that, and it was just really interesting. So thanks to Jason for throwing that one out there. But yeah, Delta Force is my number 2. Jason, what is yours?
My number 2 is Lone Wolf McQuade. That's my number 2. And I won't have too much to add because Leon, did so great on that. I agree with a lot of those points. I just think it is such a seismic leap when he shows up there from the other. This is who he should be. This is why Walker, Texas, and everything came to be. There's a couple other versions of this in movies too. He did before it got to his Rambo mode. Yeah. Man, I mean, it's just, it's weird. I would say like the Hitman is Chuck in his like early 90s, like infomercial Chuck when he's teaching like some moves, that's encompasses more the real Chuck. But if Chuck's going to be a movie star, I want him in this role. That's like, oh man, just he did what Steve McQueen said. I'm sure he had influence on it. Picked the script. Strong silent type, Steve McQueen, all those guys like that. That's good for Chuck because it makes him mysterious. He was living in that weird shack. The woman, I thought, what's her name again? Leon, the actress. Yeah, I liked how. I wonder if she has any relationship to Tia Carrera, unless it's a different last name.
I think she does now.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
I like how she was playing both sides. She didn't want to be with David Carradine, but it kind of, until you realize the stress and drama there, it was strange how fast she went to Chuck. She just like saw him, was like,
oh yeah, she was so in love so quick.
Yeah. And there's some good fights at the opening of that. And I'm not the biggest David Carradine fan. Growing up in the 80s, it was all these Venom mob movies coming up, 36 Chamber of Shaolin on television. It was heaven. When that Desert came on Kung Fu, I almost wanted to cry when I was like 6 or 7. I was like, no, I'm not in the mood for Kung Fu. I just couldn't get into it. It was just not my speed. Every time I saw that Desert, it like ruined my entire Sunday when I was waiting for the next Venom mob movie, on the air. So David Carradine, not the biggest fan of him. Kill Bill, he's amazing. I think he's good in this. He's decent. Boy, some funny like zoomed in shots on their faces when they're trying to like make their little faces at each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And his martial, it's a good fight. It's pretty good. I'll say, like, when I watched it and was young, I don't remember too much. When I went to rewatch it to like grab a fight scene here or there for my channel, I was like, man, this fight's like not that good, you know. But when I watch it in the context of it, when you're not expecting, you know, wheels on meals out of this, you're just kind of you know what you're in for. Yeah, I think it's pretty it's pretty solid. David Carradine's doing some strange shapes and stuff. Like almost like he's making it up on the spot, but it's kind of cool, you know. And it's pretty cool. It's a decent fight. Some twists and turns at the ends. I'm trying to remember, like I said, some of them blend. Yeah, I just remember there's like a lot of setups, and they're blowing up buildings at the end, and hysterical when they bury him in that truck and he's pouring that on his head. That has to be, of everything going on, that has to be the peak Chuck moment of this whole ridiculousness all of this, you know. And it's like, of course he's not suffocating, he's just a little sweaty and he's gonna get out, and like that was cool. The villain was David Carradine was so over the top. Just how I like how and I'll just say there's that teetering edge where there's the caricature where it's like it's so ridiculous that it doesn't almost make sense, but Carradine brought a little bit of nuance, you know, how they both like martial arts, how they were going to fight. And I like that, because sometimes it turns into like a Mad magazine. You're just looking at a spoof of, you know, and I don't mean to keep bringing it up, but when I watched that Invasion USA, I was like, this is the weirdest movie I've ever seen in my life. You know, it's like, by the end, it's like an entire army fighting these guys. You forget what their point is, and you forget which guys are shooting each. And Chuck has the double Uzis. I guess I just have to counterbalance why I chose these over some of those ridiculousness. I need to bring up why this beat out obviously some of those ones.
It's
but
simple,
I think,
isn't it? When he breaks out the truck and out of the truck, and he's like, "You son of a bitch!" And he's like, "Ranger, are you okay? Bring me a beer, kid."
Yes. And this is another way to sum it up, which might confuse you for my number one. But if anyone asked me, I've never seen a Chuck Norris movie, what should I watch? Even though it's my number two, I would say Lone Wolf McQuade. That'd be the one I'd say watch. You know, because even though he's in that war mode and missing in action, I found it a little bit of a snoozer. You know, that one for me. But that's my number two.
Nice. That's a good one. Good breakdown. Leon, what you got for your number two?
Okay, you guys probably won't see this one coming either, actually. But this one was after repeat watching, and I remember watching it a lot when I was young. But I watched it a few times this time just to think, I'm not just buzzing off the one watch, am I? I do really, really love this, and I thought, I know this isn't up there for people, but I thought, you know what? I just couldn't care less. It's my number two, and I absolutely adore it because you got the proto Lone Wolf McQuade in it mixed with a horror movie, and it is, of course, Silent Rage. I absolutely adore Silent Rage, and I know that Chuck has been frowned upon for his acting back at that sort of stage of his career, but I'm watching this and I'm thinking, like Jason said, he needs to dial it back a little bit, and I thought in this one it was dialed back a little bit. And everything that he's given to do, that's put on his plate, I think he deals with it just perfectly in this film. And I can see him heading towards that sort of stardom in Silent Rage. And I like the context that we got Michael Myers versus Chuck Norris, which is essentially what it is. Because I always had that question in my head. What about if one of these killer psychopaths comes up against a top martial artist? And there we have it in Silent Rage. And if I just find the name of the actor, got it here.
Brian Libby. That's my IMDb moment for you.
Brian Libby. He went through it a little bit, didn't he? Because I know in the end fight scene, the first move that Chuck did on him was a throw, and he broke two of his ribs. Then he did a jumping takedown and cracked his ankle. And Brian Libby still just wanted to go with it. I mean, he was a big guy. And apparently they rushed him to hospital after the fight scene. And Chuck was like, why did you want to do it? And he said, well, I believe acting's much about the physical side as the oral side. So game on to him. But we got Ron Silver in there as well, from Time Cop as well, and The Entity and whatnot. He's great. We got Stephen Furst. That's the guy I wanted to mention. I absolutely love Stephen Furst in this. You know, he's like chubby sidekick, the cop that's always wondering whether he should be a cop, and then Chuck's like plowing in with sort of compliments all the time and bigging him up. I really like that because that guy was in Babylon 5. He played Vio. I don't know if anybody watched Babylon 5.
Well, no, but I was just about to ask you because you're so good. I swore like I saw him in some Porky's or Revenge of the Nerds. He had to have been in some other stuff in that early period because
I think he was, yeah.
Unless it's someone else that's reminding me, he really seemed like he'd be in a lot of them.
I can't swear to it. I think you're all right. He was in one of those. But also, we all know Chuck has many, many films where there's a ballroom fight, like Firewalker, you mentioned, Cold as Silence.
Mm-hmm.
This, for me, this ballroom fight is hands down the best of all his ballroom fights. When he comes up against that biker gang and it's just him in there and it's carnage. And I do feel the power in this one. I think the blows, they do sound a bit better in Silent Rage. And he tears that bloody bar apart. He's using like a broke off bit of pool cue at one stage, and then you got the bike. Yeah. The bike goes straight through the window. I absolutely love Silent Rage.
Leon, we could have, not to interrupt, we could have done a top 3 bars too. You know what I mean? Because when they go in, it's like, and this is funny. What comes to mind is the idea is which bar would you not want to go into the most? Yeah. I think Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure with the tequila might still reign supreme, but these have some. It's like you go to the lights so dim. How many bikers are you going to have in here? Like, how much does the record scratch when he walks in? Like, yeah, wow. And there's another one. Not to interrupt, but yeah, no, that's a good call on that. The bar in there is solid. Is really solid.
I also wanted to shout out the actress Stephanie Dunham, who plays Nancy, who's like Ron Silver's girlfriend in it, because I like horror movies of the 80s and whatnot. And she wasn't in a lot of films. I think it said she was in, what was she in? Oh yeah, she was in a program called Mistral's Daughter with Stacey Keach and Stephanie Powers. That was a really good thing from the 80s. But yeah, she was so good in this. When he's in the house with her and she's like hiding in that attic-y bit. I thought she would have made a fantastic scream queen, but this is our only one, attempt at it. So I think like they could have done a little bit more with her, but overall, Silent Rage, it's just a perfect mix of horror and martial arts for me, and I don't think it happens often. You had Donnie Yen try it with Satan's Return, which had a younger Dale Wong in it and Ching Mi Yao, and that was okay, but it was nothing like this. This for me is where the martial art horror worked, and the only occasion that springs to my head in this sort of slasher context. And yeah, that's my number 2.
Nice one.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Silent Rage. I didn't. Unfortunately, I did not watch that one. That was one that I was not able to find. A lot of the, pretty much all the movies, actually, pretty much all the movies that I watched were. I had to stream all of them because I don't own many of Chuck Norris's movies, unfortunately. But that was one that I just had a hard time finding. So unfortunately, I had to pass on that one. But we
can say Chuck Norris lives on Tubi. I mean, man, they gotta, What the sad thing is with those commercials, I did feel some of his movies were a little too long. I love that hour and 20, hour and 30 mark for that grindhouse time. Sometimes I just felt a little too long. When you get on Tubi, you have the commercials. You're like 2 hours and 30 minutes for Chuck Norris,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's weird. He doesn't have a big like Blu-ray presence on a lot of this stuff, like a strong, in my opinion. For some of them.
A lot of it, a lot of his movies have gotten Blu-ray releases in the last couple of years, but excuse me, they go out of print so quickly.
That's what I mean too. I'll re-say that I had to spend $25 for Force Vengeance, so it didn't feel like it's like it wasn't some Amazon thing that was right there. I wanted to get it, and I have mixed feelings on. We could talk about that too, but no, I have sympathy because I had trouble finding a lot of these. I had to pull different moves.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's good. And now time it's finally time to get to our number 1 Chuck Norris picks. But first, it's time for another Chuck Norris fact. This is I found this one. Actually, found this one last night, and it really cracked me up. I don't know why. It's so simple, but it really got me. And it is Chuck Norris can believe it's not butter.
Oh man. Wow. That might be that turned into a top 5. That is really good. That is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that one just got me. That one really cracked me up. I don't know why, because I remember thinking it's not that funny. Like
no, but it's perfect. It's perfect.
That's why it's
so
funny. Yeah.
It's the thinking man's Chuck fact. It's
oh man. Okay. Yeah. I will have one more. I will have one more fact, but I'll save that after we're done. Like for my favorite. Yeah, my favorite.
I thought you were gonna say one more honorable mention. I was like, oh man,
no. Yeah. I was gonna say I've got one more fact, and it's my favorite of all time. But I'll share that when we're done. But yes, my number one is Lone Wolf McQuade.
Good man.
Nice.
That's strange. I didn't see that coming for some reason. I don't know why. I thought you were going to pivot to some sort of like explosion one for some strange reason.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of tough saying everything I love about it because you guys already covered it. But yeah, I mean, that's just really, that's just the one where Chuck like really, where Chuck just became, you know, like Leon was saying, is where he became the icon, Chuck Norris. Mm-hmm. You know, that is where, like that was the precursor for Walker Texas Ranger, which is, you know, one of the biggest things that Chuck is known for, other than, you know, fighting Bruce Lee and, you know, a couple of his other like big one-man army action movies. But yeah, Lone Wolf McQuade, that was like that was just the one for me. I was watching it and like this is it. This is the Chuck Norris movie for me. Like it's just got great performances. It's got fun action. It's great seeing him and David Carradine fight each other. David Carradine is just a rotten little scoundrel in this movie, and it's a lot of fun.
What do you think of his shapes? What is your shapes rating for? I mean, I think he was doing little like Loch Ness monsters at one part. Like, you know how the Loch Ness has that like coming out? He had double Loch Ness at one point.
Or the claw from Liar Liar. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say it's about a 7 below 0.
Sub-zero.
No disrespect. I love David Carradine. He was excellent. But anyway, but another interesting thing, another interesting thing that I noticed wasn't really thrown out there when you guys were covering Lone Wolf McQuade was the whole his chemistry with his ex-wife and his daughter. It's good. You know, it's really good. You know, it's really good seeing, like, he obviously loves his job. You know, he's playing that character who, you know, puts work before pretty much everything. You know, his job is his life and stuff like that. It's his, you know, it's his lot in life to, you know, to like be a cop and or be a ranger rather, and you know, and to catch the bad guys and stuff like that. But at the same time, it was nice seeing those moments where he is, you know, he does set time aside to be a father, you know, and to and he like take his daughter to do stuff with him, and you know, it's nice seeing like him have like an ex-wife who they don't hate each other's guts, you know, like it's like an amicable split, you know. They're still friendly with each other. They have a kid together. They co-parent and stuff like that, which is great. Yeah, that was just a little bit in Lone Wolf McQuade that I thought was interesting. I really like seeing. Yeah, I mean that's all I have to really say about Lone Wolf McQuade. I mean, you guys, we talked about it a lot.
No, but that was a nice add-in, because if someone just tuned in and heard you talk about it, you would not think you were talking about Lone Wolf McQuade. You're talking about like a Kramer versus Kramer. Like you got it. Yeah. You filled in a little bit of the like ex-wife aspect of it. She had her moments though, where it seemed like she wanted to rip his head off, especially at the very end, you know. But I hear you though; it was a little more nuanced.
Yeah, it's just an interesting tidbit right there in that movie. And yeah, I mean, that's my number one, because I just think I had the most fun with that one. And I think that's just the movie where Chuck became, like Leon said, he became the icon. That's when Walker Texas Ranger followed that, and I absolutely love that show. And it's
I never seen that. I never watched that.
Me either.
yeah.
So how is it? It's basically that Chuck from Lone Wolf and McQuaid with way more dialogue and jokes and stuff, right?
Yeah, they I'm trying to remember the story exactly. They wanted to do, like, Walker Texas Ranger was basically going to be Lone Wolf McQuaid, but as a TV show. But because of copyright and stuff like that, they couldn't use the name Lone Wolf McQuaid, so they just turned into Walker Texas Ranger. But but yeah, it's I really love that show. It's a really special one for me, and I just I think we got to give Lone Wolf McQuaid a lot of credit for that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Man, I'm so eager for what's next. Jason, let's hear it. What's your number one?
All right. Well, I got a little curveball. I don't think we've ever did this. Maybe I did it once. I want to ask you guys if you want to guess what my number one is. Just, we've probably done that before, but I just want to see if you could take a stab.
Let me go back and look at everything I've watched. Maybe it's one of those. I think. Oh man, I'm gonna say.
Dude.
Oh man.
Dude.
I'm gonna say A Force of One.
You know what? I said early on, but to Shaz, what I thought Jason's number one was, but you've already dispelled it, yeah. And I did say The Octagon, but now I know it's not that. So I'm not going to embarrass myself any further because I've been so wrong. I didn't think Caleb would have Lone Wolf McQuaid in there at all.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm so chuffed that you do. I can't say how happy that makes me. So yeah, I'm going to keep silent and just let Jason give his delivery.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm excited.
All right. Well, it isn't those two. And I will. All right. Well, I have to say real quick, you got my opinion why the Octagon. Force of One I had some issue with. It's in that period where the acting was a little, USA Up All Night kind of. But so my number one, which I was so impressed with, loved it. Drum roll. What?
Top Dog.
They said Top Gun.
Top Dog.
No, I don't even know that one. I don't even know that. Is that a later one for him?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I took your guys' advice. I didn't hit the late 2000s or whatever. My number one is Silent Rage.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh man,
Nice.
I feel a little bad you hadn't seen that, Caleb, but you're definitely going to hunt that down sometime. That oh man, that just surprised me. It really surprised me because here's what it was. They didn't do a Chuck movie with horror. They did a horror movie and had Chuck in. Maybe a little bit. They like sometimes Chuck felt like an afterthought, like they filmed a separate movie, and sometimes it's like, oh wait, we're in a Chuck Norris movie, like he shows up in his truck. Yeah, Caleb, it is such an odd blend sometimes. It's like watching Halloween, and then instead of whatever that the detective showing up, it's Chuck in this insane truck, and he's in his proto Lone Wolf McQuaid mode. And I mean, I loved it. Leon hit a lot of the stuff. Brian Libby's very imposing at 6'4". He is the third plasticky face thing. I don't know what to call it. We have the other one is the Invasion USA guy, but he actually had right. And I was looking it up. I thought they did it for his character. Richard Lynch in the 60s took LSD. It's sad, or I don't actually know if it's sad. I don't know what it was, a protest or what happened. And it's a crazy fact. He took LSD and went to Central Park and lit himself on fire and got all these burns. And then he became an actor later and used it to his advantage, like in As Me and Leon Love. And I don't know if you've seen it, Sword and the Sorcerer. I thought he was really good in that.
Cromwell.
Yes. Crom's brother, maybe. No. And so in the other villain would be the one in Code of Silence, had a weird look. But this guy really had he had a plasticky, almost like a Michael Myers mask. It had just a weird fake look that made it so otherworldly, uncanny. And then Ron Silver was awesome. It brought some of the really good acting into it. That's what hits you over the head. These are way better actors. Which one was it had one of the worst acting moments of all? It might have been Forced Vengeance when he's in the casino and they bring the guy in to like strip him down.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they got that guy out back like in an alley, like as it was like a, he was like, "No, I want to keep my job." It even sounded like they piped in a different guy because So when it hit me with the Ron Silvers, when it hit me with all of these better supporting actors, Brian Libby should have been a horror mainstay. He was awesome. The demented, or who was the guy that was going crazy that wanted to make him the into this? The guy who was like going against Ron Silver.
I do have it here. It is Stephen Keats.
Yeah,
he's like the Frankenstein of our story, really, isn't he? Dr. Frankenstein,
right?
And that leaves William Finley, who is the other doctor. That's like the Igor of the story,
right? And the Frankenstein is Stephen. You said.
Yeah, Stephen Keats. He's the one that's in charge. Yeah,
his acting was incredible. Oh God, it was so good. And then it has one of the best martial arts end fights in any of Chuck's movies. The impact. He's fighting a horror guy. This is in Chuck's, I think 3rd degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. I mean, he's so legit. I actually think he's a lot better at jiu-jitsu than he is at karate. I mean, if you watch his jiu-jitsu, so smooth, so powerful, so great. And I'll just add the little side thing. I think Chuck is good at karate, probably in tournaments, hitting a bag. He's ferocious, but on-screen karate, I feel a little bad. He doesn't get it there like he really has it, I feel.
Yeah.
Except for Way of the Dragon. I think Bruce got him up to snuff really good early on. But I just want to say that last final fight has all these leg throws, hip throws, different judo, crazy cool moves. It goes on for a while. It's so strange that it's like a karate match versus the villain, the Michael Myers, but it works. It's like, it's weird. I love that one. I thought it was kind of scary. It was just cool. The guy was like so unstoppable. They made him so supernatural. Because you didn't even know in Halloween he was supernatural till he survived and went into the second one a bit, that he got up off the lawn. This guy, you knew, and let me remember how. Oh, yeah, I don't want to spoil too much, but I'll just have to say when he puts him in a well. I guess he's living down there still currently because this guy, you could blow him up to a million pieces. He like. It was kind of like when they had to kill the Terminator in Terminator 2, because he reformed so much, you had to figure out what's going to finally.
Yeah.
And a well was weird. And I did my little Google moment, like, how deep are wells? I put that in. It's like, oh, wow. Because I guess like some could be like 500 feet or something. Yeah. So this villain is still living in a well. And that's my number one, Silent Rage, guys. This is the one. Okay, I'll say real quick. Lone Wolf McQuaid is what I would say if you want to watch a Chuck Norris movie. If you have a horror fan or someone who's pretty like anti-Chuck for whatever reason, I would say watch Silent Rage. I think that's more appealing to people who just want to like
mass
80s.
audience. Definitely.
Yeah. That's my number one.
Nice. That's a good breakdown. It's really interesting. And now I think I need to find Silent Rage and I need to watch that because sounds like a lot of fun.
The stunts alone in it, Jason, like the car stunts, the high falls, the guy on fire. I mean, there's some insane.
That one of those falls, my brain went, oh man, they have a big budget on this. It's like, and because there's a shoestring on a lot of the early ones. Canon puts their entire budget into the explosions, and not in Missing in Action. And I must have brought up Invasion USA. That really made a mark on me. Did you guys watch that this round? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I bought the Vinegar Syndrome 4K.
Oh, it's such an odd movie. That is such a that encapsulates the side of Canon. It works in a good way, but man, is it so weird. It's fun though, the double Uzis. But my point is the budget in this is in Silent Rage is used so well. There's falls, all of it.
Yeah,
excellent.
Sweet.
I almost want to guess yours, but I don't think I can.
Yeah.
You told us we can't. You told us we couldn't.
Well, Leon said we wouldn't be able to.
I'd be surprised if either of you actually watched it, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I was way off guessing Jason, so I think I'm not gonna do this one. I'm not gonna guess this. So.
Well, there's one, and do you want to know why I didn't watch it? And I've never seen this in my life.
Okay.
It had 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. I went to look it up. It was something at the end of the 80s. It's like it has a comma, good cop, bad cop, or some weird word. I don't know. It's one of his late 80s ones. And it's like a double phrase. I'd have to look it up. But
wait. What was it? Was it a Hero and the Terror?
Let me see real quick. It is. I think so. Yes, it's Hero and the Terror, and I looked that up. It had 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I feel bad if you're about to say Hero and the Terror, but
Yeah. No, just kidding. No, actually, it's not that bad. It's very
okay.
similar to Silent Rage, so it's worth a watch just for that.
Well, yeah, I don't really go off Rotten Tomatoes, but if it's 0, that made me a little nervous when I had so many to watch.
It's not that bad.
Okay.
And when I was young and I first saw it, because I hadn't seen Silent Rage before, and I thought, oh, is this a sequel to Silent Rage? Because it really felt like it.
Oh, okay. Well, you sold me instantly there.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes be damned.
Yeah,
I don't think. Here's my guess. I think it's going to be a drama E1, 90s, because I don't know if you'd really dip into the 2000s for your top 3. And you can't. We're not going to count Way of the Dragon. It's not going to be that curveball because that's not really a Chuck movie.
No, that's a cheat. I wouldn't do that.
You're a Chuck. What's the other one that you said something you wanted to mention? Okay, yeah, I'm like you. I can't guess your one.
Yeah, you won't get it, but you're along the right lines with the drama, yeah.
Mm-hmm. His Nowhere to Run, maybe. His Nowhere to Run, like
yeah. I guess now this for me, is it's not only my number one; it's my number one by a country mile. I adore this film, and this is a film where I say, all those that say Chuck Norris can't act, watch this film. His acting is fantastic in this one. It's on point. The budget is big. It is a canon film. It is that 80s period, and it's the third one in a series. And it is Braddock missing in action 3.
Oh
wow! I did not see that coming.
I didn't. I didn't brave that one. I did. Oh man!
A lot of people.
Did you watch that one, Caleb? Did you watch that on this round?
No, I only watched the first and the second. I didn't watch the third one.
Yeah, well, that's why everybody misses out. This is, for me, this is like Chuck Norris's magnum opus. He plowed everything into this at the time, and it was the first time that Aaron Norris had directed. He took over from the guy that directed the first 2 because they were having creative differences, and Chuck really wanted this to be something special. So they plowed a lot into it, and then he was going to sue Canon Films because they weren't marketing it right. They weren't giving it the marketing and the advertising that it required to go to the theaters, and subsequently it ended up just being a straight-to-video film. But it isn't a straight-to-video film. You've got a really, really good villain in there with Ake Leong. You've got just some incredible shots, but it's drama in this one. It goes back to, it starts off at Vietnam, 1975, the fall of Saigon, and you see they're trying to get everybody out. Chuck's back to his old mustache for a brief bit because it's Chuck back in 75, and you see he's got a Vietnamese wife, and she works for the US Embassy. And she's with the maid and saying, "Oh yes, my husband's going to get me out." Who's Colonel James Braddock, and so she's trying. And the maid says, "Oh, can I have this? Can I have that?" And she takes like a bracelet that is his wife's, and when everywhere's getting bombed, she sort of dashes out, and then the building gets blown up where his wife is, And when Chuck goes to pick up his wife, there's this charred body and the bracelet's on it.
Oh no! Oh,
So immediately he thinks it's his wife. Now, normally in a lot of action films, you get like a overstated breakdown and sobs and
slow-mo.
But Chuck's at that point in the movie, he's got something he has to do, but you can see it hit him. Just the way he sees it before he gets in his car to drive back to the embassy. So you can see it's just hit him, and he's not taking it in. And that bit of acting for me is tremendous. It's like it's subtle, but it's perfectly stated for the situation and everything that's going on around him. And then he gets back to the embassy, and you see her trying to make her way there, and somebody steals her handbag, which has got her papers in it. And when she gets to the embassy, everybody's at the gates trying to get in, and the soldier at the gates is actually Keith David. And he's like, "Who are you?" She goes, "I work for the embassy. My husband's Colonel James Braddock." And he's like, about to let her in, and this car crashes in, and all these people try and flood in. And when they're on the top taking this helicopter away, there's tons of like people trying to get in, and this one guy tries to pull off a woman so he can get in, and Chuck like throws him onto the floor, and this guy pulls a gun and shoots Chuck in the back. So, and then they gun him down, and Chuck's on the helicopter, and it kind of takes off, and he's left. That's it. As far as he knows, his wife is dead. Cut to present day, and he goes to see this. This reverend goes to see him, and he works with like half American, half Vietnamese children that were left and abandoned in Vietnam. And he comes to Chuck and says, "This kid came to see me, and because his wife used to work for the American embassy and blah blah." And it's basically, her name was Braddock. It's your wife, like. And Chuck's like really pissed off and like, "You've made a mistake, like, you know." And he goes, "No, it's your wife." He goes, "No," he says, "I've seen a dead body, like, you know." And he's off. He leaves the reverend, and he's in a bar, and you get the CIA come up to him, and they're sort of, "Oh, come with us." So they take him to see this guy called Little John, and he's, "Oh, I believe this crazy reverend came to see you, you know, and telling you some silly story about your wife being alive." And Chuck's just looking at him, like really looking at him. And this guy like kind of looks down, and Chuck goes, "Yeah, I didn't believe it until now. Big mistake, Little John." And this guy's like, he goes, "Well, don't go creating an incident. You know, it's only one person. We don't want to create an incident." He goes, "Don't go treading on any toes over there." And Chuck's like, "I don't tread on toes, Little John. I tread on necks." And it's fantastic.
Time out.
Yeah.
Can we have the wig on and hear that one more time? Can we get the wig back?
Oh,
as he was going, this is his number one. He's doing all the lines at the camera. I was like, this needs to be proper, you know. Maybe even something now. Maybe.
Somehow my shield was fucked up. Sharon set this up for me today, so I'm blaming her.
The shield has stole the wig.
Yeah, because I went over to Mum's to brilliant. I like that. Right, I'll try and get the wig.
Oh man, Amber's slaying it. I love it.
On by myself yet. I'm probably gonna get it on.
Oh, I didn't know this was so. Did you order this for today?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm proud of you.
Christ, this is gonna look a mess, isn't it?
Oh, that's perfect.
No,
I like it on wrong. Breaker. Oh, yeah. I love it.
Okay,
can I get an early request for your Halloween costume too?
This doesn't look great, but here we go. "I don't tread on toes, Little John. I tread on necks."
Love it. Thank you.
So yeah, we go from there to them trying to stop Chuck. There's some really dynamic action, another barroom sort of fight, come break out, great car chase. He finds his old mate. They have a low flying plane to go under the radar to go into Vietnam again. That's like pre-Expendables, but you can see an influence on the Expendables with that. He jumps out the plane, and he has this like super turbocharged speedboat, which he takes off in. I don't want to ruin the film for you guys because you haven't seen this, but
maybe just the big twist hold off on, because
yeah. I'm not going to tell you what happens there on out,
because you've sold me. I think we've sold Caleb on Silent Rage, and I think well, also in me and you, Caleb, now need to see this. I didn't see that coming though. I mean, I like how you said it. I just have to say, I was shocked on missing in action. I just thought it was I like slow movies. I thought it was relaxing, but we hit an hour and 5. And if you had to recollect what had happened so far, you did not need all that to get them to Bangkok. It could have been like literally 1 minute or something.
Yeah, no, this is the best of the missing in actions. I mean, I like all 3 of them. I really do.
I respect that. Yeah. Well, I like that. I'd say I like them. It just had no chance of being top 3.
Yeah.
I dug it.
But yeah, the first 2 wouldn't get to my top 3, and it's not often you get like a third one in the franchise. It's like very rare.
Only John Wick or something. It's rare to have a third.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And for me, recently I discovered I like Boyka best out of the Undisputed films. So yeah, this is it for me. I don't want to ruin any more. There's a great scene where they try and torture him. Really, really stands out and really shows how tough Chuck is. And it gets even more exciting towards the end when he's trying to. Well, I don't want to ruin it. Go watch
I'm going to watch it. I'm going
to get back to me. I can't. For me, by far the best Chuck Norris film, Braddock Missing in Action 3, and yeah. I'd love to hear what everybody else comes in with on the comments. I want to see if somebody else has seen it, thinks the same, because yeah, I just love it every time I come to it, and it just cemented it for me. And I thought, yeah, this is my best one.
Nice pick. Have you heard that before? Besides you, have you ever heard anyone else say that? I mean, is that considered the best of the missing in actions?
I don't think I have. That's why I was like adamant in my head that you two wouldn't have had it in your list. I thought there's no way, because nobody speaks of it like that. I thought I'm the only Chuck fan on that I know that really digs that one.
No, that was cool. But as you said it, you know what threw me off there? The fact that you said it was straight to video, but it's 1988. I guess he must have fell off pretty quick in his like box office.
How could Canon Films shut down after this? This was being filmed back to back with
Superman 4. Oh, okay, but Superman 4 was one of their final.
Yeah. And they reckon, they just didn't have the money to promote it. It should have been.
I thought May dropped off so hard that like he hit his Steven Seagal, because once Van Damme and Steven Seagal hit that, they never were going back to the theater. But I'm pretty sure wouldn't the Hitman and some of those later ones after this, he went back in theaters, right?
Yeah, probably. I think I'm not sure what else came after this. I'd have to have a look. But
we got The Hero and the Terror next year or same year.
Was it?
Yeah,
and that's nowhere near as good. You know, like I said, I don't hate it, but it's just not the same.
Then you have Delta Force 2, the Colombian Connection. I didn't see that.
That's painful, isn't it? I mean, I don't. Again, I can watch it, but it's just a bit painful. It doesn't feel good, that one.
Yeah,
good, nice pick, and I like how you helped us. Like I envisioned it well, like as you told the story on it. For some reason, I was picturing First Blood Part 2 the entire time when you were saying it. For some reason, you know what I mean, with the Vietnamese girl and the like.
Yeah, you'll take me with you, Rambo.
And his knife, like picking his tooth with a knife like this big or whatever he's doing with it.
Yeah,
that's the same actress from Sidekicks, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, Julia Nixon.
Oh, well done.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember the name. Well done, Caleb. Good call.
Yeah. But oh man, that was that was good. I really did not see Braddock Missing in Action 3 coming, but that was good. And now I think I need to check that out as well.
Good.
Yeah, but
I'm confident you're gonna love it. I'm confident you.
It's a very Leon pick for some reason. That's just how I'll describe it, but I think that's really cool, and I like. Good. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Wow. But there's more crossover than I expected, though.
Yeah, there really was. But yeah, this that was our top 3 Chuck Norris picks. Before we wrap it up, though, there's one more thing that I did want to ask you guys, and we'll get to that. But first, it's time for our final Chuck Norris fact and my personal favorite. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have to read it because it's been my favorite for a long time. I don't even have to look at it. I already know what it is. If Chuck Norris got shot today, tomorrow would be the Bullet's funeral.
That is perfect.
Brilliant.
Very good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that is my favorite. But anyway, so
can I sneak a cheeky one in?
What you got?
Chuck can kill a bird by throwing it off a cliff. Kind of a dumb.
Chuck Norris.
I
can't see the bottom. Go up.
He decides what time it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
The bird one's so dumb, but I like the ones you have to pause and think. Like, what is this? Yeah.
There was actually, now that I remember, there was one more that like made me. I had to think about this one as well. It was Chuck Norris can sneeze with his eyes open.
That's good.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh man. Okay. Anyway. But yeah, my final question that I wanted to ask you guys is what did you guys take away from this journey of watching Chuck Norris's movies? Because for me personally, it was very unexpected. Like unexpected was a word that I kept thinking of a lot whenever I was watching all those movies, because I was sitting there thinking, I really did not expect to like the movies that I ended up liking more than like the ones that I didn't, because I was watching like Chuck's like older older, more martial arts centric type movies like Octagon and Force of One and Eye for an Eye, stuff like that. And while those movies like had good things going for them, at the same time, whenever I was finished with them, I was like, I don't know, I don't like it enough to put it in my top three. But then when I was getting on to Chuck's later movies, then I was like, okay, now I'm getting, and now I'm seeing stuff that I can say is a top three. And yeah, I mean that's all I can really say there is that this was just an unexpected journey for me. I did not think I was gonna like stuff like not Invasion USA. Sorry, I did not like that movie actually, but yeah, I did not expect to like stuff like Delta Force and and Lone Wolf McQuade and Code of Silence and stuff like that. I was expecting to like kind of older movies. But yeah, that was kind of just my biggest takeaway from it. But I'm wondering what was going through your guys' minds as you were watching all these.
Yeah, well, that was a great question. What it was is that I often growing up, like when you're younger, like the American Ninjas and all that, you can't always tell that there may be bad movies or some of the acting is rough. When you get older, when I went to watch American Ninja, I was like, oh, I love this. I still think it's really fun. But that's when my split happened, where I think it's healthy to like kind of rough, bad movies and silly movies and B movies. It's a great like package deal with the Apocalypse Now and whatever, all these amazing films. I need that. That's like my left and right arm. You need them both. And Chuck really embodies that. It just feels good. It's lightweight. It's fun to watch. That I guess that would be my takeaway. It's just fun. It is so fun. You're never like, I never was like extremely bored. Sometimes they were long, but it just, I thought it was fun. I thought he's very, and sometimes he bucks that too. Like you trust, your guard goes down that he's going to be lighthearted in this. And then you get to the hitman, he's shot like 30 times in the chest or whatever. And then he's ruthless in that one. He is just out of character. It makes no sense how to undercover. He's just like, oh, you got to pull back the killing people, and he's just murdering everyone. I just think he's fun to watch. He has a just likable presence on screen. I feel a little bit, he never came into his own. I feel there's a little missing piece that, oh my God, he was such an icon, but I think he would have been more well regarded if I don't know. You could see them trying to get him to turn the corner, which I do think he did in Lone Wolf McQuade. But for me, he sometimes like can't get over that hump of that. I think Arnold, when it comes to like the one-liners, Arnold and Sylvester for me go to a different stratosphere. I feel like Chuck just can't quite get there. He's more in the canon side of things. I feel bad saying this to Leon because I know Leon has like biographies. I just want to say, like, I just feel he was right on that cusp though. If you have like the Jeff Speakmans and those fun ones and those things, he definitely wasn't just in the like that straight to DVD vibe. He definitely hit the stratosphere of his own, like his max. He got there. I think Chuck himself became like what I end up liking overall. I think he's just a cool dude. I love his demeanor. I love his interviews. I think he's great for martial arts. Everything's awesome about him. And I guess I would say if you guys just want to relax and unwind and not have to like feel like you're watching Memento and taking notes or something, watch a Chuck movie. It's just chill. It goes along, and 6 of them will blend into the same plot, and that's kind of its charm.
Yeah.
And I would just say, add on, I would agree with Caleb. I thought if I just had to pick them without watching them, because I love old school, I would have just thought I'd pick like 77, 78, 79. There we go. But when I saw he was still in acting school or whatever he was going through at that point, it kind of like it surprised me too. I never would have thought Silent Rage would have been my winner.
Yeah, that did me too, actually, because I thought it was going to be all the early ones for me because of the martial art content, and I was surprised at just how much I liked when Chuck became the Chuck that we know, the icon, rather than trying to be this actor like on a Steve McQueen style level. You can see that they were trying to push that early on. I was kind of conflicted actually, because I loved nearly all the ones that I watched, and I had so many that had a high score on. I was like really stressing out because I felt like early on when he was like, say, Good Guys Wear Black, his first sort of main lead. Breaker Breaker was, well, I don't know what it was. It was a bit of a mix. I mean, I enjoyed watching it, but it's not a great film. It's a weird film, a weird film.
Bad
But Good
ending
Guys Wear
too.
Black is a proper film. And you got James Franciscus in there, you know, who was in Long Street with Bruce Lee, obviously playing the blind guy, and Beneath Planet of the Apes. Anybody that's fan of the original Apes films, and I felt like Chuck acting opposite him and having Ann Archer in it. I can see that he's really trying, but there's like he's like inhibited slightly. It's almost like he's shy or embarrassed or something. There's just a little something
He seemed
holding him
nervous to
back.
me. He seemed nervous to me, like in
Yeah,
in the Octagon, which I would have thought was going to be my
yeah,
number one from when I saw him was little. When he's trying to do the scenes with her,
yeah.
I can maybe not even just nervous. I can see the gears turning of him almost remembering his lines. Where they're at the table, he's like,
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
why would you do that? Then it's like I
Yeah.
have to smile, but he got over that, and the smiles came better later, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, he just seemed a little like spooked or something weird in his bad moments. But he got over that
Yeah.
very well. Got over that pretty
I
good.
feel like it could have come. I feel like it's there, and there's some scenes that really make me feel like actually he's just like another star of the 70s. You know, he's not that different to who we had then. You know, he could have been, but it would have required different directors, different budgets to pull it out of him. And I feel he then hit the Lone Wolf McQuade, and that was like, oh, that's it. That's who I am. I'm Chuck Norris, you know,
Oh
who's
yeah.
going to be this worldwide icon, action icon. And that was his jam then. I think it was good all the way up until he hit Braddock. And then I think there was a drop off. There was still one or two good films, but I don't feel like he pressed to improve then. I think he was just taking a paycheck and carrying on his career and just enjoying life. I feel like he knows at that point he's gone past his prime and he's just having a little bit of fun, you know, doing projects with his brother because he enjoys it. But I didn't feel like there was a push to elevate himself anymore after that. I feel like Braddock maybe kind of broke something in him, and because it didn't get the acclaim that in my
Okay.
opinion, it deserved, I feel like it was like, right, okay, let's just do this as a job and press on. And I think that's a real shame. I think there was more that could have come from Chuck. He could have been. He's one of my top choices for stars that could have been but wasn't. And that sounds ridiculous with the amount of money he's made and the amount of iconic films. But I still feel like you say, we kind of missed the boat a little bit with Chuck. I think he could have been so much more than he even was if you know, everything was favorable, the elements were favorable, and everything had gone just a slight bit different. But yeah, that's my take on it. And just want to say for Chuck, if you're watching this, still want to be you, man. Absolutely love you. Think you're incredible, top legend, and watching all your films was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I mean, whatever we may feel about his movies, you can't deny the impact he's had, and you also can't, you know, you definitely need to acknowledge everything he's done just for the martial arts world in general. You know, I mean, as far as that goes, he is undoubtedly like one of the most celebrated figures in the martial art industry, and it's well deserved. And yeah, it's
Well said.
it's just yeah, it's just Chuck Norris. You know, he shot down a German fighter pilot by pointing at it and saying "bang." So I had to throw one more in there.
Okay, I'm thinking, did I miss that one? Because that seems like maybe the plane was going down.
Yeah, but yeah, that was it. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I was it was again unexpected. I did not know what we were gonna say or what we were gonna pick as we were going into this. But I got to say, it was a lot of fun. It was really eye opening. So I really appreciate it. This is one of my favorite things about what I do here is talking to you guys. I love doing this. And now we got to figure out what we're gonna do next. Whenever the time comes for the next Three Amigos chat.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah. But yeah, before we go, I'll let once again I'll let everybody plug their stuff, and then that'll be it. We'll be on our way. So yeah, you guys go ahead and do your thing. Whoever wants to go first.
Oh yeah, my channels are Martial Arts Theater 3000, and I'm on, as I said earlier, YouTube, Instagram, and I on Facebook as well. If you guys want to follow, and I have a podcast with Sean Food for Thought and Johnny the Fanatical Dragon, Mike the Avengers, so you could listen to us there. And yeah,
Top podcast app, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, thank you,
absolutely
thank you.
amazing. It's been I can't believe you started off good and it's just gone even more amazing, you know.
Oh, thank
So
you.
if you guys out there listen to any podcast, listen to Mike Defenders. It's such a happy place for me. It gets me through so many days at work, and I really appreciate and love the work you guys are doing.
Appreciate that.
If you have a little bit more time on that and you want to go back and listen to some of our episodes, not as good, but
Oh, that's not true.
no, honestly, I mean, you guys got it down to fine art, but I do think we've done a few good episodes, and I think Shaz brought the best out of that. I think I was, you know, I should let her take the lead a little bit more than what I did. But yeah, if you want to see some reviews on some more recent films that might, you know, at cinema, always hop onto our channel for that. And we do have a backlog of videos if you're looking for some physical media release coverage. There's like over 400 videos on there. But other than that, you know, go to Caleb's channel, go to Jason's channel, and enjoy their content. And look forward to seeing you guys again when the three amigos reunite in the future.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
definitely check out Caleb's Retired podcast.
Oh,
You
that's
got-
about
yeah,
that.
thank you.
Yeah, you
Yeah, I
tackled
think
so much.
yeah, I'm thinking about maybe doing another reunion episode. Still trying to figure out how I'm gonna do it, what kind of topic we're gonna have. But you know, it'll whenever I think of something, I'll throw an
It's
announcement
gonna have to
out
be a
there.
movie
But,
a movie that's gonna push you to do it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah, definitely. But yeah, other than that, if everyone could subscribe to the channel, I greatly appreciate it. There's going to be a link tree in the description of this stream. Like once we're done, I'll throw it in the description. But you guys can subscribe to the channel. I appreciate that. Leave some comments. We always love seeing the comments. And yeah, you can follow my Instagram and my Facebook page and my again my newly created Twitch channel. I'll probably stream a little bit on there once I'm done here after I eat because I'm starving. But
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, that's all I really have to say. Again, I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody watching. I love doing this again.
Yeah.
It's always a lot of fun. So
It was a blast.
yeah, definitely. So until the next one, we thank you guys as always. We appreciate it, and we'll catch y'all on the next one.
Later, everyone.
Cheers.